Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. How are we doing today?
I'm good. I'm glad it's Friday.
Oh, I'm so glad it's Friday.
Here we are. Good morning. My wife is on. That's pretty cool. Let's see what that does. Oh, and that's working too. Laquita's here.
Yay.
She says, check it out. She says, good morning. Happy September, tribe.
It is September. Oh my God, I can't believe it.
And fall is in the air this morning. I was at a very cool networking event at 7:30 this morning over at the Cycle Bar in Meridian at the Village over there. If you ever have an opportunity to go into the Cycle Bar and just check out their cycling theater, absolutely impressive.
Oh my God. I was at a major event this morning too.
You were shooting balloons.
I was hoping to shoot balloons or
Like
photograph
popping
balloons.
them with your BB gun?
Yeah, exactly. Problem is, they canceled because of the high winds.
Oh.
So I got up early for nothing, but
High winds aloft, right?
aloft, yes. At 800 feet, the high winds were kicking up there.
Oh, wow.
I met Larry Skibisky out there.
Yeah.
And took my neighbor who's a wannabe photographer.
Okay.
And we did some networking, had a good time.
That's
Even if
terrific.
we didn't get a picture.
Yeah. Was there coffee involved?
No.
Oh.
We just had fun.
Oh.
That's
Fun?
Fun. Just hanging out. Even if I don't get a good picture, hanging out with other
Well, and
photographers.
that's, that describes kind of our monthly shoots that we've been doing. And with Laquita here, we've decided to rename them for 2024, our monthly shoots.
Okay.
Instead of fun shoots, which just sounds a little bit too clubby, we're going to do creative shoots. Monthly creative shoots, and it's an opportunity to flex your creative muscles as a professional to try different genres, and that's kind of the impetus going forward.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't always go out and shoot flowers. In fact, I rarely shoot flowers. But I had a blast at the sunflower shoot.
That was neat.
That was a blast.
actually posted those pictures. And I'm like, well, they're nothing that special, but it was fun. I had a good time, and it's nice to exercise, different camera modes. I pretty much live in manual, 1/160th of a second, ISO 200. That's what's on my stilts over here, and yeah, it's nice to flex that a little bit.
Yeah.
The camera does have other modes. Who knew?
Well, manual mode works really, really well. I mean, that's, especially for studio, you got to go manual.
Yeah.
You got to set your color balance and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Some people forget and they put it on auto color balance, and somebody comes in with a red shirt and gets a green face.
It's just awful, right?
You learn your lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice to flex my shutter speed a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Get up into the thousands.
I was shooting at 4,000, 5,000ths of a second at the air show the other day.
Yes.
And some of those planes were outrunning my shutter speed.
That's brilliant.
That F-35, oh, she was.
Okay, so I haven't seen the F-35 fly.
Did you hear it fly?
Well, we hear a lot of things.
You
Oh
should.
my goodness, I think a B-17 flew over yesterday. I was sitting up back yesterday evening. It wasn't nighttime yet. It was cool and comfortable out back, and big silver two-prop plane came over. I think it's the B-17 I need.
Oh yeah, they were flying out of Nampa.
Yeah. So and those things must have been terrifying during the war, because they have such a distinctive sound.
Oh yeah.
And they growl going overhead, and
Even-
it shakes everything.
The Thunderbirds are fantastic because they do a lot of misdirection. So you're watching these guys fly off into
And
the
then
sunset,
zoom.
and this guy comes out of nowhere at just under Mach.
Yeah.
You don't hear him
Until
Then
he's
he goes by,
goodbye.
and it's like, whoa! Scares the bejeebers out of you.
So you photographed some air show.
I did.
That was fun.
Way too many pictures.
I did it last time they were in town, and which was just a few years ago. It was a lot of fun. There's a lot of opportunities right now to get your camera out and run around town with it.
Not just right now, but all year long.
We have a session in the studio this afternoon.
It's amazing. Amazing how much stuff goes on around here. You just take it for granted.
There's a lot going on here.
Yeah. Like last weekend when they had the air show, they had the county fair.
Yep.
They also had the Albertsons golf tournament.
Yeah, the Open.
The Open.
Yep, that's where Larry was all week last week.
Larry was there all weekend. Terry, one of our members, got the
Terry Miranda, right?
Terry Miranda.
Yeah.
Got the superintendent's award at the county fair for the best image. She got $325 out of that.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
For running the camera. Who knew you could get paid for this?
No kidding. Get paid for having fun.
I see that our lady viewers are having a nice conversation. That's terrific. Today is, of course, the first Friday. We are our first Friday lives now, and we do hope to bring in some other hosts as we go into the coming year. So it's not just us sitting up here and chatting with you. But I was going to share that today, see that?
First Friday lunch. It's almost time to start in Twin.
I'm going to actually do this one and kill that one. Let's see what we got there. Look at there.
There it is.
Run that over. See, now I'm doing behind the scenes stuff here. It's our first Friday lunch today. And we're going to be here at Pueblo Lindo at 1 o'clock. And soon.
In half an hour, they're going to be in
At
Twin.
Henitzio's, is it?
However you pronounce it, yes.
The Twin Falls folks are meeting for lunch down there. And we'd love to find out if there's some interest over in the Idaho Falls area. Am I getting my falls right? Twin Falls is meeting today.
Idaho
We're
Falls
looking for
would-
Idaho Falls
yeah.
to come up and get active and get together and share some food and some time together and some
Maybe
conversation.
some north part of the state up in Coeur d'Alene.
Love
or
to see that up there. Maybe bring in
Sandpoint.
some of our Washington peers and just
Yeah.
get some things together. But that's the whole point of our first Friday lunch socials is just get together, hang out, chat about the good, the bad, and the ugly.
And just have fun.
And have a good time.
Yeah.
So that's pretty neat. One of the things about our organization is we are a professional organization. We're not a camera club. So the fun is usually wrapped around education and community and leadership. Those are the three things that are standouts in our mission statement as professional photographers of Idaho. And the community aspect is getting to know your peers. And where that comes into play, this is definitely, we didn't talk about this ahead of time. This wasn't planned conversation. But where community comes into play is when you as a professional have a need. It could be an equipment need. You need to cover a piece of equipment that has failed on you spontaneously. Don't you hate that? Spontaneous equipment failures. Sometimes
Just minutes before your event.
Sometimes gravity plays a role in that, right? I don't. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you will. It's like motorcyclists, right? Two types of motorcyclists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those who have been down and those who will go down.
Yep.
It's the same thing with your lights and stands and modifiers. Stuff happens, right? And it's nice to have a community of folks that you can rely on that know how to fix things. An area where we could spend some time talking about sometime is running either network attached or desktop attached storage and cloud backups. Those are some areas that we could talk about because there are people in our group, in our organization, that know a lot about those kinds of things.
And that have learned their lesson not having a backup.
Yeah, well, there's that too, right? But that's what having a professional community is about, is being able to lean into the knowledge and not just the things, not just the, hey, I need to borrow a piece of equipment, but leaning into that knowledge of maybe it looks a lot like, hey, I haven't done this before. Oftentimes we as photographers say yes to something that we haven't actually accomplished before, but know that we think we have the skills to handle.
Mm-hmm.
Know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
You get that call that's like, hey, I did a thing. I obligated to do this thing. And maybe you could tell me a little bit more about how that works.
What the heck was I thinking when I took it, number one?
Yeah, it's terrifying. But you know what? We don't grow if we don't stretch.
Exactly.
Right? But that's what this community represents. We've got photographers in here who are masterful creators in just about every genre that you could imagine. And I'm dying to know if my buddy John is here out in Chicago. I wonder if you're watching today. If you are, give us a shout. Actually, if you're on today and you're watching, jump in the chat there on YouTube and just say a quick howdy. We can see that here. And just love to know where people are at and who's watching, who's participating with us. Let me take a minute and run down to our next biggest thing that we want to talk about. It's right here, I think. Yeah? Want to take a minute and talk about Iconic Boise?
Yeah, if we have to.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that, yeah.
All right. Iconic Boise.
September 29th and 30th.
Okay.
The biggest day is Saturday when we have
Saturday is shoot day.
shoot day.
All
Big
day.
time.
All day.
Well, minus the meals and fun stuff.
Well, I think the meals, that wasn't the button I was looking for. That's the button I'm looking for. So Friday, September 29th, we're going to do a no-host dinner at a restaurant in Boise near the 8th Street Studio. 8th Street Studio is being kind enough to host this whole event for us this year. The neat thing about Fall Retreat this year is the price is not a barrier to entry. It's less than $100 to come and enjoy a full day. We're going to serve breakfast, a nice continental breakfast. We're going to have Phil White is teaching a workshop on fashion photography, and it's not just a podium lecture workshop.
Hands-on.
It is a hands-on, all-day workshop. We're going to cater lunch in. You can eat, you can play, you can shoot, you can eat. I like to eat. I'm going to eat and shoot.
I'm just going to eat and eat.
Eat and eat.
Eat and eat.
Eat and eat. That's not a bad plan. I like eat and eat. That's why I look the way I do. And then we're going to take a dinner break, probably around 4 or 5 o'clock, and you'll have an opportunity to go out with friends, peers from the event, and find your own way, and then come back around 6 for an evening of shooting some of the iconic Boise landmarks. You want to talk a little bit about that?
I think the biggest thing is we're going to go up to the train depot, shoot towards the Capitol downtown, down the main street,
Yep.
get some late afternoon shots, and then the early evening into the evening shots.
Yeah.
So you got the regular daylight, then you've got twilight, sunset, and then you've got the evening.
Yeah, and Blue Hour, which I
And
love.
you can get some incredible stuff.
That's
down
going to be a
there.
fun evening. So this is really a very full day of hands-on shooting. And the cool thing about that, and we were just talking about that, with having your professional network, peers in the industry, if you don't know how to shoot cityscape at twilight, there's folks there
that have done it.
that do.
Yeah, there's plenty of mentors out there who will be paying for the class as well, but also there to help.
Yeah.
The fashion stuff, Phil especially is going to be there to help.
And he's been teaching a great kind of a film noir, Hollywood film workshop all over the Western United States. Laquita said it's going to be so fun.
Oh, it is.
I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm excited.
So let me put that slide back up just for everybody to run through real quick. I'm going to do that. Boom, comes across.
And you should have got an email this morning saying how to register. Just click on the little button that says register.
Yeah, right at ppofidaho.com. There is
In the events tab.
the events tab. Scroll down a little bit because we got a lot going on with our monthly shoots and our luncheons. So scroll down to the September area in that list, and you can get to it that way, or you can go right from the email, right?
Yeah,
jump
just click right
in.
on the email and
Jump
take
right
it right
in.
there and get
Yep.
you taken care of.
Very cool.
I'm excited.
We haven't done, at least since I've been here the last 7 years or so, we haven't done a fall retreat quite this way.
Right.
And one of the things that we've been trying to do the last few years is provide some different opportunities. And we've been, gosh, when I first started here with PPI, we were at Albion, and then they did one in Stanley. We were back in Albion at the normal school, which I would love to go back to. It's been a few years since we've been at the normal school. That's a really cool It's just a really cool site, a really cool venue. But we've been down to Wendover, to the Bonneville Salt Flats, and we've been out to Teutonia, out into the backside of the Grand Tetons, and learning about horses. And we've just done some really neat things. Fall retreat is a time that is both educational and social, and it's also a time where we're not sitting in a classroom so much,
Right.
watching a podium with a big screen and doing those kinds of things. We've done a little bit of that, but anyway, it's designed more to be social and hands-on, and really get the camera out and do some challenging things.
Quite a few people signed up already, so it's going to be a great time. I can't express how much fun I think it's going to be.
I'm not sure who this is. Did you happen to negotiate a better hotel group rate for attendees?
That went out in the email this morning as to what the group rate or what the rates are. We're not doing any group rates because we don't
there's
want,
no room blocks.
if we get tied into a room block and we don't fill the room block, we get charged big bucks from the hotel.
Yeah.
But we've got some decent rates.
Yeah, I think so.
Under $100 for a couple of them. So
That's good. Hopefully that answers your question. Tell us who you are. I'll put you back up there. Did you happen to negotiate? Tell us who you are, M. It's Jason. There you go.
okay.
Yeah, take a look at that email. There's some hotel recommendations in there. In fact, that's what we wanted to do this year is while we're catering the food for your morning and for your breakfast and lunch on the 30th, we didn't want to tie anybody into a specific room block. Some people, actually a lot of folks, enjoy going the Airbnb route, and
Right.
they'll even share.
There's plenty of Airbnbs in the area too.
There really are, and
Yeah.
a lot of folks will share Airbnb space because it's typically rooms, that kind of thing.
Right.
So we didn't want to get into a hotel block, knowing that a lot of our folks just like to do their own thing. I know when Larry and I travel to a lot of these events, we take our travel trailers and stay in a variety of places. Sometimes we wrap events around where we can pull a trailer to, and then I get to do some of my own cooking and sleep in my own bed and those kinds of things too. But that's a really good question, and I'm glad you're here, Jason. That's good stuff. Let's see, what else, Mike? What else you got for me?
Well, we got November 11th, something we haven't even talked about yet.
And we're going to talk about it now.
We're going to talk
you're
about
gonna right out here, and you have no details.
I have a few details. We just don't have a location locked in yet, which will be today.
I think
hope.
that won't be. Yeah, I should have that dialed up today. I've got a couple of things. How many are you allowing?
It depends on the room size. I'd say probably 20 to 25 max.
Max.
I mean, 20 would be pushing it. We're going to be doing a print competition class where we talk about the 12 elements.
Image competition class.
Okay, I'm old school. I still love print competition. What you see is what you get when you have a print. You put it under the lights of specific lighting.
I missed that.
Print competition.
Well, and I want to do that locally. I want to do that.
I wish we could,
We are well equipped to do that locally.
But it costs so much money to fly in judges, fly in.
We don't have to fly in judges. Anyway, let's
If you
go
do
back to the
print
11th.
competition. If you have judges, you got anyway.
I
The
have
11th
some
is print
thoughts on
competition
that.
class.
We'll talk about that offline.
Dennis Hammond and Sherry Hammond are going to be teaching print competition. The first 6 hours of the class is going to be what to look for, how to do it, how to improve your images, how to present your images, the whole 9 yards, what to look for. The last 2 hours is something that hasn't been done very often.
Some image critiques.
Image critiques.
Excellent.
Each participant that pays to be in the class will get an image critiqued at no charge.
That's brilliant.
And if you want more,
You really put your thinking hat on for this.
if you want more, it's going to be $10 an image more
Okay.
to be critiqued. There's going to be 2 national level judges there for sure.
Great.
And there's people that have judged. Dennis asked me to help critique and judge. I've judged probably 100 times at local affiliates in the States.
Yeah.
So, and also at Tennessee, I judged there.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's scary doing a state competition.
So this is an opportunity. Let's talk about what this represents for our members. This is an opportunity to get into an image competition concept without having to get into image competition,
Yeah.
right? You're going to learn a lot about what the judges are looking for. That's really what the 12 elements are going to be discussing, is what are the judges looking for, and helping you understand how to tailor your images to speak to the judges in their language, right? And then to have an opportunity to have your images reviewed before maybe you send those on.
Or, I don't want to participate in print competition. That's okay.
You still want to improve.
This class will help you improve your eye so you see that tree sticking out of the back of the head before you shoot it and you move a little bit here. Just the little
I
things
recently
like
did
that.
headshots for an organization whose headshots for the corporation had a bubbling fountain coming out of their heads. And I'm like, what's with the fountain, man? They're like, yeah, we need new headshots.
You know, sometimes you just don't
This isn't
see
really
it.
about competing. This is really about learning a lot about what you can and can't do to make a successful image. And now we've talked a lot about green merits in the past, like images will sell. So I don't work. One of the things that differentiates what I do from what a lot of other people do, I don't sell to an emotional crowd, right? Does that make sense? So if you're a family photographer or of any nature, you do studio families, outdoor families, you do people, dogs, anything like that, they're buying your images on an emotional basis. They love their people, they love their pets. They're inclined to buy an image that maybe isn't a terrific image. That's a green merit, right? And I'm in the business of selling to corporations, mostly, be a nonprofit corporation or a for-profit corporation or government. And that is, you sell to government, that is as non-emotional as it gets, but they're looking for quality.
They want the lighting this way, they want the pose this way, they want the flag right there.
Yeah.
You've got a recipe that you have to follow.
Yeah, gold braid has to come across the right shoulder, mid-span between the neck and the, right?
Oh yeah.
So less emotional, more technical. Actually, I play to the technical, that's my strength.
And I'm
Because when it comes to the emotional side, I just want to give everybody everything. I'm terrible that way.
Anyway,
My wife would reinforce that.
That's going to be November 11th, which is a Saturday. That's actually the official Veterans Day.
Laquita just said, what day?
So,
And we expect to hold that in Eagle.
or Meridian, somewhere
in
in
the
the
Treasure
local
Valley.
area, the Treasure Valley.
We're going to be negotiating that today, hopefully.
And we'll be sending out an email shortly with the price, and we're planning on including lunch in the price as well, so that
Wow.
when everybody runs off to lunch,
You lose the crowd.
you go from an hour lunch to
An hour and a
see
half.
you next week.
Yeah.
So we're
Please
gonna
be
do-
back by 4.
You got to get your image critiqued from 3 to 4, so it's going to be a blast.
Good feedback. Jesus
Yay.
says, sign me up. Hey, man, it's good to have you here. I know I said that a minute ago, but it's nice to see you on and participating.
And
I like
Idaho-
it when I look at the chat and it's full.
And Idaho people, please sign up right away. We are going to include an invite to Oregon, Washington, Colorado, and Utah.
Yeah, yeah. Laquita's not going to be able to be here. That's the day of her mom's memorial service.
Bummer. And we're sorry for your loss. Laquita.
Yeah,
They are.
and that's a tough time.
It's
I've
hard.
got a couple of friends right now coping with that kind of loss, and it's just a struggle.
It is.
As we age, I think we are more and more into that area of our lives.
I keep checking the obituaries to make sure I'm not there, so I'm doing okay. I did see my name in there, but it was another different Michael Collins from Lompoc.
Well, and I have 2 Michael Collins friends on Facebook, and I always have to look at your little icon, right?
Little icon.
Because there's 2 of you, except
And that's going to be a great day. I mean,
yeah, November 11th is going to be really cool, and I love Veterans Day as a veteran. I think it's just a neat time to be with people too. So I've got a topic that I want to bring to us here. If we're ready to get into this, yeah, I think that's it for announcements.
Yeah.
And conversation.
we've been blabbering long enough.
Let's jump into this. So what I want to bring to you today. So let me lay a little foundation for this. Let's go here first. Boom, and then I'll cue that. I co-chair a leads group for the Meridian Chamber, and we meet every other Wednesday. And my co-chair, David Sanders, who, if you need a mortgage guy, is great. Anyway, David Sanders, he's taken to looking across the table at me when we first get there and everybody's kind of milling around. He's like, do you have a question? Like, I do. I always have a question. Like, I always have something that I want to pose and talk about. And last month, for First Friday, we introduced you as our executive director, and we asked the question, how do you receive the price question? Do you interpret that as how low a price are you, or do you interpret that as they need to know how much you cost?
Or do they need to just find out information about your business?
Or are they just where are
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
I've had clients, this doesn't happen very often, but I've had a client, out-of-state client, in a different market, I should say that, tell me that I wasn't charging enough for what they asked me to do, and they sent me more money than I asked for. We're going to pay you this. They had a budget, and she's like, well, this is what we're paying other photographers in this particular market. This is what we're going to pay you as well. I'm like, send it, right?
Yeah.
But having these conversations every other week with a group of business professionals at the table, and none of us, just so you know, none of us are in the same market. We all do something different. That's how this table works, is we don't have two of the same person at this table in this group. So I've got guys that sell mortgages, and I've got realtors, and I've got bankers, and I've all of the different markets I've got. It's really neat. So the question that I asked last time we met, was what mid-year change or changes are you making to your business? Let's slide that over, right? What mid-year changes are you making for your business? And there's a secondary question to this, and it's what's the catalyst for the change? So that's the question. And I want you to just linger on that for just a moment. We'll just hold on the question for just a second, if you're okay with that.
I'm easy.
Yeah.
But for me, that's an easy question for me, because my business is basically static right now.
It is, but you're doing something new now. You're executive director for PPI.
I've done that
So
before.
I would apply this question to that role and even to PPI. What mid-year changes are you making for the organization?
Made a few.
We've made a few.
Made a lot, and we need to keep making them.
Yeah.
A lot of change needs to be done.
I am so pleased with all of the activity that's taking place within our organization around the state. Like, we're planning an event for Sandpoint for next year. We've got convention coming up, and we didn't hit these announcements. We've got convention coming up. That save the dates out there in the wind. We've got 5 speakers under contract? 4. 5.
5 or 6? 5.
We've got our speakers under contract.
The whole speaker crew is set.
Is set. The location's set. Contracts are signed. It's really exciting. We're going to be able to, after fall retreat, we're going to start talking a lot about what convention's going to look like. My goal is to make this one of the best attended conventions that we've seen in a lot of years. And I'm excited about that. And
my goal is just the opposite. My goal is to provide the best speakers available.
Well, you certainly have brought that to the table. So
we can't really say anything yet.
I do have another quick announcement. We're going to come back to the question here in just a minute. But I just want to mention that Carrie Grant served with the board for 16 months. She's recently stepped down to focus on a number of things, but
mostly
family, her horse. She's opening a restaurant with her husband in January.
That's scary. But
so a big thanks to Carrie for
she busted her butt. She did a lot of work for us.
She really chaired this convention that we had end of March and April this year. She was a really key. She was clutch in that,
she
right?
did some work.
So thanks to Carrie. And Tim Schmidt, TJ, is coming on board as your new board member. If you were at convention, you know that he and Amy ran for the vacant board position. Amy was elected, and our bylaws allow for us to fill a vacancy, and he was a natural. He's already run for the board. Like, he's already been introduced to our community, and had a chance to speak. So he's coming on board. Pretty excited. So welcome, TJ. Thanks, Carrie. Lots of really good things happening at Professional Photographers of Idaho. Yeah. What else do we have going on here? Okay, good. So let's run back to the question. You've had a moment to think about this now. What mid-year changes are you making for your business? Now, Jason, I'm interested in hearing from you on this, because you're a relatively new startup, and I bet you're making changes all the time as you figure stuff out. And I'm going to go first. So I asked this question in that group, right? And the room was silent. It was crickets for a minute, which I never mind that. Because when the room goes quiet when you ask a question, they're thinking.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's thinking like, crap, what?
Don't call on me right away. Don't call on me right away.
So our business banker in the room, Carol, she looks up at me. She goes, "You go first." I'm like, "Great, I love to go first." I actually don't mind going first ever. I always have something to say because I think about this stuff all the time. So we just changed. So I'm going first today. We just changed a key pricing structure for a component of our business. I don't mean that to be overly vague. We do a lot of our corporate work, and our corporate prices are set. Our individual pricing, we've tried 2 different formats with that in the last 3 years. And the change that I made last year saw us making less money. So we went back and readopted elements of what we were doing before, but went all the way with something that they call one-to-one pricing. One-to-one pricing means the price for the session and the price for the images are the same. So, and you can find this on my website. I don't ever hide my prices because business people don't want to fart around with that. Again, we're not emotional. We're not selling emotionally. So we're $195 for the session and $200 per image. When we were a fixed price for session and image, and extra images were a certain price, they always knew they were getting 1 image.
Mm-hmm.
So that's often what they left with. And we lost those extra image sales when we went to that format, where before I was seeing those additional image sales. Somebody would pick 5 or 6 or 10 images. And when somebody picks 10 images and you've got a discount at 12, that's a great opportunity to either upsell or to be like, you know what, you buy those, I'm going to give you this price, and I'm going to include those extra images that you loved. Because we almost always do. So we do in-person sales. We do it differently than maybe you would if you're selling prints in somebody's home. But for us, we do in-person sales as part of the session. I'm selecting images as I go, as we're shooting. I'm picking my stuff that I like as we go through. And when they finish, they're thinking, oh, I have no idea what I like. And then I pop up their selected images, my favorites. And they're like, oh, I love that one. Oh, I love that one. Oh, I really like that one. What if we did this one? But if they get 1 image that's included, they're going to drill it down to 1 image.
Right.
So we went full tilt one-to-one pricing. We weren't quite there before, but we were seeing extra image sales. Now we're one-to-one pricing. This is a model in the headshot industry that is seeing a lot of success on the East Coast. We're going to see how it works in Boise. And guess what, folks? Just because we set this pricing today, mid-year, doesn't mean that we're stuck with this pricing. If come this time next year, it doesn't work, it's my business. I change it, right? This is like A/B testing. If you're doing any kind of advertising work, if you're doing any kind of social media marketing, you need your A/B testing. You need to know that video is going to see 300 times more hits than a still picture with the same content. That's A/B testing. So why would you continue to post pictures when you know video content's selling better, right? This isn't a social media conversation. This is an A/B testing conversation. So if the A/B testing on our pricing doesn't work out next year, we'll change it again. But this is mid-year, and the catalyst for, this is coming back to the question again, right? The catalyst for getting to this point was just looking at what we've been seeing and going, we're leaving money on the table. Folks, I'm in business. It supports my family, right?
Yep.
And I don't care if you're a weekend hustler, don't leave money on the table. Like,
Definitely not. I've got photographer friends all across the country.
yeah,
And I had a couple about 2 years ago that decided, okay, we're change from in-person sales to online sales. They saw their market drop, just plummeted,
bottomed out.
50% in the first couple months.
Wow.
They saw it. And
Bob
so,
Quick says, yo, dudes.
yo, Robert, good to
Yo,
hear.
Bobby.
They went back to their in-person sales, money floated right back up
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
So that's, and some people can make it on just doing it online. But to me, answering the questions they have, because they always have questions. Family portraits, senior portraits, there's questions.
Yeah.
And, well, can you fix this? Can you fix this? Well, no, I can't fix that because they're ugly.
My friend John, our friend John,
Hey, there he is.
says, guess what I'm doing now? Does it involve one-to-one pricing, John? John, folks, if you don't, our Idaho folks don't know John out in Chicago, he does what I do. He does it for fire departments and lots of other folks. You're killing it, by the way, man. I love what you've been posting out on LinkedIn. And you've been more active on LinkedIn than I have lately. I've just been a little overwhelmed with some other stuff. But great to see your work, John. And I'd love to have a conversation with you offline about one-to-one pricing. Are you already doing one-to-one pricing, or is this something you're pondering now? Let me know in the comments, John. Now we wait for John's comment.
Do, 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 do.
Yeah. Yeah, John, is this something you're already doing, this one-to-one? Because you play in the same conversations that I do. John? Never mind. They're off on a tangent. My wife says, hi, John, miss you. Folks, this is what professional community looks like. I met John and crew, the whole Chicago contingent, you're North Chicago, right, bud? The whole Chicago contingent at Imaging USA a couple years ago. And really, they're my reason for going back to imaging, right?
That's one of the big
friends.
reasons to go to imaging.
It really is.
And our conventions to
Well,
hang
and
out
I
with.
learned so much more talking to their people one-on-one, like what's working for you? And then people like, oh, what's working in Chicago is not going to work in Boise. Yes,
Sometimes
it does.
it does.
Yes, it does. It's not any different. Like we've got huge players in our market here. Micron.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got huge players here in our market in the Treasure Valley. You don't necessarily see their buses driving around town, but they're here. Let's see. Well, look at this. That's great spelling, John. He actually apologized for it in the next comment. He says, no, but I'm pondering it now. John, let's talk, man. Let's have a conversation a little bit later today or maybe this weekend. I want to talk this through. I love this. Coming back to this professional conversation, professional colleagues, and this community that we've built across the country. Your community is phenomenal. It really is. Yeah.
Well, like part of my community is going to West Coast School, and next year another school.
Texas school.
I can't say that
I
because I'm not.
He's teaching at
Announced
Texas
it.
school. He's not allowed to say it yet, but I think I can
It'll
say
be
it.
announced later this month.
I think he's teaching at Texas school, and if I'm wrong, sue me. So John, let's pick on John for a minute with our question, right? I want to bring that over. John, man, what mid-year changes are you making in your business in Chicago, and what's the catalyst for that? And Jason, if you're still with us, tell us what kind of changes you've been massaging through your business as you get ramped up. TJ, if you're out there today, I'd love to hear what you're doing. His business dynamic has changed from a weekend warrior to making a living, right?
Yeah.
And well, that is a scary as heck transition.
Last month at the first lunch, we had new people there. Can't remember his name, out of CUNA. Him and his wife.
Nick and Aaron.
Nick and Aaron. And he was talking about how everything is just tumbling right now, and he's getting it set up.
Yep. And
Amazing, great conversation.
Oh, and they're great people. I've had an opportunity. We actually wound up having an impromptu double date with them the other night.
Oh, cool.
We both wound up at a networking event out in Caldwell. We both wound up running into each other at a networking event in Caldwell. And then as the event was winding down, we wound up across the street at the Indian Creek Steakhouse.
Oh, cool.
And just having dinner together and chatting and laughing and having a good time. But Nick and Aaron Allen, I think,
Yeah.
with their photography, and great folks. Lots of
Really
changes.
nice.
Lots
Yeah,
of changes,
a lot of changes
right?
for them.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. John says exactly what you said. The model is working in other parts of the country. You know, and for me, John, it's not such and that's a huge part of it. The model's working in other parts of the country, but I recognized that my model was falling short. So this is a good case for tracking your numbers, tracking your statistics. And you don't have to get really fastidious about that. You don't have to be very detailed about that, but knowing like on an average month of making this or on an average session, I think knowing your session averages is super important. And it doesn't matter what kind of work you're doing. If you're product photography and your session sales are falling off, why is that?
Right.
Even when I do product photography, and it's definitely not my main line, but if you're not doing some product photography from time to time, you're leaving money on the table because everybody needs it if they're selling anything. So I do some product photography from time to time, and I'll always shoot what we've spec'd out in our run-up to the shoot with the client. And then as I'm working, I'm seeing other opportunities to shoot. I'll make those shots too, and I'll sell those images to the client.
Yep.
I'm certainly going to offer them to the client, right? Because I don't want to leave that money on the table. So we just found that was happening with our sessions by including an image. They're like, well, what's included? That's what's included. Okay, well, I'm just going to run with that for now. Can you put the other ones, up online? And then, I'll look at them with my wife. And yeah.
As you put your logo across the middle of it so they don't steal it.
Yeah. So that just didn't work out for us. I'm really excited about this one-to-one. In that one-to-one pricing, we did take an increase. And why? Because inflation, folks.
There's no inflation right now. Haven't you watched the news?
Gas jumped another 4 cents here in Idaho. John, where do you fall in Chicago for gas prices in the nation? We are 9th most expensive fuel in the nation here in Idaho.
And I think that's because all the Californians.
No,
like us
it was
moved
expensive before we came here. It was less expensive than that western state that we don't talk about because they've got the new gas tax.
When I first got here, it was $2.19 a gallon.
Well, that was a different administration when we had
We're
US
not going to get into
pipelines flowing
politics, but anyway, times have changed.
Yeah, gas is expensive. Almost what, $4.25 a gallon now?
$4.19 I saw when I was driving. But I got friends in that other state that are
over $5.
Over 5.
Yeah.
Well over.
Yeah. Anyway, this isn't about the gas talk, but it's relevant though. If you think about how much more it's costing you to get to the job.
Yeah.
My insurance isn't getting any less expensive. I carry really good insurance.
You have to.
I often have to carry insurance to cover my venue that we're working at. We work at the Boise Center. It's million, right? Aggregate, right? And then, so like none of that stuff's getting less expensive. And it's not getting less expensive to feed my family. And that's what I'm here for,
Yeah.
right? I love photography. I've been doing photography for 40 years, right? But this isn't about my love for photography as much as this is how I make my living. And I know that's different for a lot of folks. A lot of you are weekend warrior photographers making some money because you love photography and you enjoy making money also. And that's a great combination. I'm not belittling that at all. I think there's an absolute market and place for that. But as a full-timer, as in taking up real estate doing this, it's important to me that it's profitable. And profitable is not a four-letter word.
No matter what you do, you have to do it legitimately. You have to do it with insurance, pay the taxes, do all that stuff. Some people try to sneak the way around that, and it just bites them in the butt.
So Chicago's at $4.39, and you can add 50 cents to that if you're in Chicago proper. So what you're saying is get gas before you go into town.
Oh yeah.
But that literally illustrates my point. And I know we're talking about gas prices, but it really illustrates the point. Let's come back to the question. What mid-year changes are you making? And what's the catalyst? Well, the catalyst is everything costs more. Registering my kids for sports. Okay, here's one. I've got a son at Boise State University. His parking pass was over $100 more this year than last. The pavement got more expensive?
A little bit. Because they have to repave, have to paint the lines in every year.
CFO. Anyway, we're talking almost $5 for a parking pass for him to go to school in the distant parking lot, in the least favorable parking lot. Anyway, none of that's getting less expensive, right? So mid-year, we're like, need to make more money, and we want to we know we're leaving money on the table with the business model we've tried. Tried isn't failure, right?
It just didn't work.
Well, it didn't work as well.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, well, I like making more money. So we toggled it, right? And I'm excited about it. We will photograph less people.
And make more money.
And make more money doing it. And that's okay. That's difficult for a lot of people to embrace that concept of not working as hard, but making more money. And it sounds a little bit too good to be true.
It depends on how you do it. You could sell 5,099-cent 8x10s and make a penny each because you got to pay to have them printed.
Yeah.
And think, oh, wow, I'm raking it in. 5,000 of them, that's $5,000. I'll take away the money that you had to pay to print them.
And the time.
Oh, my time is part of the inclusion?
Yeah, so that's
And
the
the
time has
computer.
value thing, right? And as artists, I think our community struggles with that at large.
Yeah.
That's something I think, so my wife and I are 19, this is our 19th year self-employed, and we have discovered that. Like, we've come to terms with everything we do takes time. Like my business networking, we were talking about that when we started talking today. I love my business networking, but I can't be everywhere I would like to be because, well, I got a text yesterday at lunchtime. Hey, you're not at the luncheon. Like, luncheon? They're like, yeah, at the Small Business Awards. And I'm like, I photographed 63 people on Tuesday night. I'm working. They're like, oh, well, I saw that same person this morning at a networking event. We didn't actually get to talk to each other because she was over there and I was here, but I'm like, hey. It's hard to be everywhere, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's because your time has value. And whether it's value to your family or it's value monetarily, your time has value. And that's part of the catalyst. Coming back to the question again, our mid-year change was switching to one-to-one pricing. We almost always visit our pricing in the October-November timeframe for the coming year. We never wait to the coming year to make those changes in price. All of our pricing has seen increase from October last year to this point this year. So I don't anticipate another price increase going into next year because we're very comfortable with what we've set. And our corporate clients didn't go, oh my God, what? Right? They just didn't, like, they're just like, how much? Cool.
Yeah.
Here's, invoices, right? But again, I had a conversation. We had a booth at a trade show on Wednesday this week, and it's a show that we do every year. It's a show that we very much enjoy, and a third of the other exhibitors in the room are clients of ours. That feels good. The folks that host the event are clients of ours, right? It's a great event, but I was talking to a gal, and we were talking headshots, and she asked how much is it? And I said, for an organization your size, it's this much per head. And she's like, oh, well, I'm paying what everyone else pays. I'm paying $79 a head. I'm like, well, everyone else isn't paying $79 a head because my clients are paying $200. It just is what it is. And you know what? That's a good time to wrap up that conversation because she's never going to pay $200. If she's a $79 per head person, she's somebody else's client. And she is. And that's good. Because I don't need to take that client from that person if they have that relationship that's working. I talked to another potential client who's getting an email this afternoon. They love their headshot photographer. They've used him for years. And he just closed up shop.
We need to talk.
I said, well, I'd love to have that conversation with you and your colleagues about why we might be the right choice to take up that work. And their photographer gave them a recommendation, but the recommendation was to a general purpose photographer. And this person was like, I don't really see what I'm looking for there. I'm like, well, let's have that conversation. And I'm very candid with folks when we talk. I'm like, look, if this is what we do, this is kind of how we do it. We range from the very serious, very traditional, to bright and colorful, but we don't shoot whimsy. I don't have whimsy. There's no whimsy, guys.
We had
So
a
if you're
little whimsy
looking,
the other night.
if you're looking for light, leaky whimsy, well, I tried.
That's what
mean-
you bring me for.
You mean at the
Oh yeah,
yeah?
that's what you brought me for the whimsy,
Sure. Yeah, I don't.
the bad dad jokes.
No whimsy. But if you're looking for that light, leaky, let me tell you who you should use, because there's some great people that are really good at that in our area. John, how about you, man? You light, leaky? Jason, what about you? You leaking light?
It drives me crazy.
You know what? It's just the right thing, right photographer for the right person, right
Right,
market,
exactly.
And I believe in that. I never want to take bread out of another photographer's basket. We don't need to. I don't desire that. I want us all to have exciting, vibrant, financially sound businesses. And if I can help you do that, I want to. And that's what PPI is all about too,
Yep.
is helping you build your skills, build your business savvy. We talk a lot about business on our Friday Lives.
That's what Friday Live is pretty much about, is business.
It really is. It's about the business of what's behind the photography. There's plenty of talking heads on how to use a strobe light. Not that they're all good, but
Plenty of crazy people that talk about doing Photoshop all the time too.
that's the deal. All right, so we didn't get a lot of feedback. John gave us some feedback about changes he's contemplating the one-to-one, and I think that's really exciting. We're about 10 till. I'm going to come back. Let me find another slide here. Do you have anything else you want to mention?
No, I don't.
Okay. I want to
Except
come
for
up.
lunch in
That's-
about an hour.
That's what I was going to talk about.
That's my goal every day.
So
Make sure I make it to lunch.
So let's wrap with this. We can talk about ppofidaho.com. You could join us there. To join our organization, it's $99 a year or $9.99 a month. Am I getting that right? $9.85, $9.90. It's less than $10. And that's where you can find it. Hit the Join Us tab on the webpage. You can always reach out to Mike or myself. You're emailing at ppofidaho@gmail.com,
Right.
right?
And there's a 208 area code on the website for
Yep.
Gmail.
And if you're not a website tracker, follower person, just hello@bobryder.com. That's where you can always find me. Happy to chat, happy to have conversations about our organization, about your business, about our business, what any of that might look like. But today we're going to eat together. The folks down there are probably getting full already in Twin. They're
They
probably
should
just getting their food.
Well, it's Mexican food. It shows up pretty
shows
quick.
up,
Well, it depends
bam.
how fast you order it.
That's true. We usually, you know what? Bob Quick, let's come back to this. Bob Quick's on the horn today. You coming to lunch?
No,
What?
he's got an appointment this afternoon. I already begged him to come.
Man,
Enjoy
I
having
love
him.
it when you're there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and his wife,
Yeah.
especially his wife. More her than him. She's nicer than him.
She's prettier.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
That's easy.
All right. Well, folks, we're going to wrap it here. I hope to see you at lunch today. John, you're not going to make it if you're still in Chicago. You know what? Pizza with John in Chicago sounds pretty good too.
Hey, there you go.
Okay, so that's it, folks. We're going to wrap it up. We'll see you again for First Friday at the beginning of October. And we'll see you all month long at all of our various events.
We got so many events coming up. You got to show up and have fun.
Got to show up and have fun.
And
That's
if
the
you're not,
answer.
And if you're not a member, why not?
Show up
If
and
not, why
have
not?
fun.
Exactly.
I love it. All right, guys. We'll see you later. Take care.